There comes a time where you get tired of telling yourself you're gonna do something, tired of telling yourself that today is the day you change. You wake up every morning making that promise to yourself and not fulfilling that. As the day ends, you tell yourself, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week becomes, I'll do it next month. And then the cycle just continues. The problem isn't that you're lazy. I'm not talking about laziness. Lazy people don't feel guilty. They don't even think about what they're doing in the moment. I felt guilty every time I would make a promise to myself and not follow through. I had this mental warfare in my head where every time I'll tell myself I'll do something, I didn't end up doing it. And as I felt more and more guilty, the burden just kept getting heavier and the guilt kept getting heavier. The harder it became, the harder it took me to start. And it became a cycle. That cycle has a name. And today I fully understand what my thought process was and what led me to change my actions and start to overcome my fear and my mental block that I had in my head that caused me all this guilt and pain and frustration. A mental block is not laziness, it's not a character flaw. It's simply your brain protecting you from perceived danger, the danger that you have in your head of what's going to happen if I step out of my comfort zone and try to better myself. If I could break it down neurologically, there's two parts of the brain. The first one is your frontal cortex, where that's where all your logical thinking comes from. All your plans, your ideas, your goal setting, they all come from there. And then you have the second part, which is the amygdala, which is your brain's fight or flight mode, pretty much, where it protects you from anything that you perceive or you fear as danger. And as you could tell, we've evolved throughout the time, and however the amygdala has always stayed there for moments where you have to fight, flight, and protect yourself from actual dangers that us cavemen went through when we were prehistoric human beings. And whenever that amygdala activates in your head, you won't even realize it happened until way after the fact. It goes through a couple of steps. The first one, it will detect a threat. It will set off an alarm, which is your second step. Third, it shuts down all your rational thinking and your courage, instigating the fight or flight. 4, it hands you the exit, like, hey, we gotta get out of here, we gotta dip. So that's kind of like telling yourself, instead of doing something right now, let's just do it tomorrow. You're pushing it back. And 5th, it remembers. It does it all again, and it remembers about all the other instances where the amygdala activated and you chose to fly and run away. So that's the mental block. And it's very powerful because I believe it's more powerful because it's unconscious. You don't even realize it's going to happen until after when you relapse and you reflect about it. So like pretty much it's below your conscious thought, and by the time you realize what happened, all the stress and fear hormones go through your body, cycle through, and you never really get to have a say in it. It doesn't matter how smart, disciplined, or how much willpower you have, the amygdala is always gonna be a part of your body, and it's always gonna affect your nervous system. But how you react to that is what determines whether you progress or you overcome your mental block. It affects different people. People react differently. Some people choose to fight, run, and there's other ways of coping with your mental block. People will self-sabotage themselves, which I could be an example of for different times. Or I've like over-prepared or overthink things, which is a characteristic of mine that to this day I still have to overcome, because right now I'm recording a video and a lot of thoughts are going through my head, and I always have to like think about what I'm gonna say and try not to say too much, but that's just part of the process. If you're wondering why like I'm sweating and I look like I'm nervous is because I just ran right now. And I hate running. Every single morning, my brain gives me 100 reasons not to go run. But reasons are like, I'm too tired, I'm too busy, I got work after, like I can't run, you know? But that same voice is the voice right now that told me not to record this video and not to record any video, in fact, for over a year. And for the longest time, I listened to it, which is a mental block. Like I said, it's same block, but a different situation, running, recording a video. But I made myself run today. Not because I felt ready, not because every time I showed up, I was eager and excited to run. I was building proof that I could do hard things. And today, when I finished this run and sat in this car, sweat pouring down my face, all over my clothes, I realized that I'm overcoming a mental block. And the more mental blocks you overcome, the easier it becomes to overcome that. So that's why I turned on this camera, and now I'm recording the video, explaining to you guys my realization and my epiphany that I had about the mental block. The run was a mental block. The video was a mental block. If I could beat one, I could beat the other. So I pressed record. Not because the fear was gone, but because the proof was louder than the fear. Proof was louder than the fear. I started thinking like this because I know what it feels like to be lost mentally, physically, spiritually. And I know what it feels to start finding your way back. I've been through that cycle many of times. And waking up, making the promise, breaking the promise. There's just a name to it that you're going through. It's just your mental block. And there's a way out of it. I know because I'm walking out of it right now as we speak. In this car, on this camera. You don't have to overcome all your mental blocks at once, but you overcome them one at a time. And every single one you beat, the next one becomes smaller. And as I conclude to the end of the video, here's something I'll leave you with. 3 things actually that helped me out. The first one was naming the mental block and trying to understand it, say, within yourself. Why is there a mental block to begin with? You have to acknowledge it, give it a name. And for mine, it was always, since childhood, it was always instilled in me from when I was a kid, that I had a fear of judgment, where I was afraid of what others would think if I were to start being more out there with my YouTube and starting to put myself out there on social media in general. How would people perceive me? Would they think like I'm trying to be something that I'm not? Or even if it was positive, like what if that changed the way they looked at me? Even if it was positive, like they're still like looking at a different version of me that I don't really share with other people. So just think about what is yours, say it out loud, and once you name it and figure it out and understand it, it loses its power, honestly. So the second thing you do after that would be to trace it, like how I explained right now, where I realized it came from my childhood, and that's where that moment I found the root, and it lost even more power the more I thought about it. And the third thing, which is the hardest part, where a lot of people don't follow through, is to do it. Overcome that block, even when you're scared. The fear never goes away. It only goes away after you become numb to the fear. Every run I did, I never wanted to do it. I hate running, but I still did it because the more I calloused my mind, the more it became easier for me, the less scared I got. And that lesson in general, just doing stuff when you're scared, it transfers to everything else in your life. The courage is like a muscle. Courage is just like a muscle. You build it, put the reps in, and it grows over time. So you think of it like that. And I did not film this video because I felt like I was ready. literally filmed right after my run. If I wanted everything to be perfect, I would be in my house, in my room, cool AC, just took a shower, stuff like that, and be more prepared, you know? But I wanted to record it to prove to myself that I could do things even when I don't want to do it, and even when I'm scared as shit, I'll still do it. And as you'll see, as I progress more throughout this content creation, this video will apply to everything else. It'll all come back together. So I just realized that I just stopped needing to feel brave and just start engineering my thoughts and rewiring myself to just do stuff. Step out of your comfort zone. And I challenge y'all to do that as well. Because when you're consistent and persistent, you can literally be undefeated in anything. It conquers everything else. So I'll leave you all with that, and that's it.